thank you for the support that you all give to the Herd Museum. These are difficult financial times for the museum. I'm pretty sure that this exhibition has if any advertising budget at all, very limited advertising budget. So I want you to go home and start calling your friends and telling them to come down and see the exhibition. It's worthy of a visit, and I hope you will tell your friends to come and see us. And now it gives me great pleasure to introduce Diana Pardue, who's the Curator of Collections of the Herd Museum.
Well, I need to join Frank in thanking the contributors to this exhibit. It was so important to us. If you haven't had a chance, we have a beautiful brochure. When we were talking to Howard and Joy Berlin about the exhibit, Howard said, is there going to be a catalog? And Howard and Joy sponsored this beautiful little brochure, and we're very grateful to them. Also to American Indian Art Magazine, the Herd Council, who stepped up and helped us with the cost for the exhibit, and the individual donors. I think Frank mentioned Maylee Smythe, who is here tonight. I'd also like to thank the lenders to the exhibit. We have a lot of people who love their works and who part with them. This exhibit is in for a year, and we're very grateful to that year-long loan. This exhibit was prompted by a National Ceramics Conference, which will be held in Phoenix in April. And Peter Held is here. He's one of the local organizers for that conference. Peter came to us some time ago. Peter's with the Ceramics Research Center at ASU, and asked that we have an exhibit about ceramics at the time of the conference. Our thought was to have something that would show a strength of Southwestern creativity and innovation, just as Frank said. And as we began to look at the possibilities, it was amazing that within this one family, there were so many talented artists who have innovated through their designs, through their techniques, through their concepts, and it was amazing that we could bring them together. We're so honored that they're here with us tonight, with the exception of Polly Rose. And I'm hoping, shall I have them join us? If they would join us, Laura Veronica Moore, that she sent me down to the creek to go get water in my little micaceous pot, and I would put it on my head, and I would march down to the creek. And on some days, my cousin, Lavardi, would come by and would be knocking on the window saying, please come and go get some water with me.
And my grandmother would say to me, but you can't do that. You can't go with her. Even though if this was her granddaughter, she didn't want my mother running off with Pablito. And they would go off, and she was about 10, 11 years old, and they would grab their little micaceous pots to go get some water. And along the way, they would play, and they would somehow lose their pots, or else break their pots, and she would say, I have no water to take back home, my grandmother. And she would be frightened, and she was sitting there laughing, and she was smiling, and rarely did she smile towards the end. But those were the memories that she had of her grandmother with her micaceous water pot. And it was just really delightful to hear that story that morning. The other story I would like to let you know about is the day that I was called in, and she was slowly slipping away from us. And it was just shortly before Indian Market. It was about 4 days before Indian Market. I took in a micaceous pot that I was polishing, and as I was polishing the pot, you could hear the echoing, the soft echoing of the pot inside as I was polishing. And as I ran my stone across the pot, you could hear it tapping back and forth, and there was this very wonderful rhythm that was starting. And as she lied there, she turned to look to see where the sound was coming from. And she opened her eyes, and she looked towards my direction, and she closed her eyes again. And I knew at that moment the Napo Gujo had come to walk her home. So in the end, she was back with the clay people. And it was a very strong reminder to me that we as clay people and you as buyers, interested people, are also clay people, and we all walk the same path that my mother and I and the rest of us do. And thank you very much for having me.
Anybody else want to jump in and say something? Dora.
I just want to say that we had a wonderful time this week working with everybody in the staff of HERD. You guys rocked. I had a great time with Eliza. We talked, we laughed. We had such a great time. And behind us were all of these reminders of where we came from. On day one, we'd see the pots and walk around and get distracted by one of the pots, and then we'd come back and go to work. And by day 3 or 4, we were looking at pictures getting hung up. And all of a sudden, there was just this wonderful momentum happening, and it was just so powerful. So thank you, HERD, for letting us do this. It was a great honor. Thanks.
Thank you, Nora. Thank you very much. Thank you, Jody. Jody, believe me, the honor is ours. The honor is ours. And I hope you enjoy the exhibition and that you tell your friends about it. So enjoy it tonight. Thanks very much for coming.